Kastuba Das here with the big announcement for Wisdom of the Sages listeners. This August will be Ashram month at the Super Soul Farm. Simple ashram living, rising early, morning kirtan, yoga and pranayama, healthy vegan and vegetarian meals, farm seva and being immersed in nature, and then gathering in the evenings for kirtan and readings. Plus, each week we'll have a lead presenter teaching a different facet of the philosophy and lifestyle of Bhakti Yoga. Week number 1 will be the exceptional Bhakti Lata teaching a course called The Beauty of Bhakti, bringing the culture of love and devotion into our lives. Week number 2 is my brother from another mother, Raghunath, teaching Falling in Love with Divinity, the Bhakti Yogi's method for opening the heart. And week number 3 is myself with a course called Following the Path, examining the history and teachings of Bhakti Yoga. You can come for 1, 2, or all 3 weeks, and the pricing is by donation. For more dates and information, go to wisdomofthesages.com/events. Peace.
Live from Villa Vrindavan in beautiful Tuscany. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Italy. Ciao. We've made it to Tuscany. Woo! And we're here for the Wisdom of the Sages retreat with all these beautiful people, literally from all over the world. We've got Bombay. We've got Beaver, Pennsylvania. We've got the Swiss posse. We've got a gang of Germans. You never know what's going to happen when a gang of Germans show up. We've got, where else? We've got New York, New Jersey, everybody.
Italy.
Croatia, Sri Lanka.
Venezuela.
It's quite unbelievable. We got Goa. We got Goa.
London.
We got Alaska.
We
got Alaska. So we do have a crew here. And we're all here at the beautiful Villa Vrindavan. It's a giant temple. They said it was I don't know the bottom line, but they say this is Machiavelli's palace.
Or that he kind of was here.
Or he stayed here a night. One or the other. He owned it. I think this whole area was No, they're saying yes, it's Machiavelli's place. So we're getting the special Shakti of Machiavelli, the great cruel. You have to Google him. See if I think he was a little cruel. But they've turned it into an incredible museum, temple, guest house, and it's just quite magnificent. Restaurant. Ashram. Yeah. Cows. They've got cows and peacocks floating around. The peacocks are mainly floating. The cows are pretty much on the ground. I've got a great business idea.
Uh-oh.
I've got a great bit. Anybody looking to start a new business with me? Check this out.
I don't see a lot of hands going up.
Okay. Okay. Germans, hear me out on this one. Okay? Hear me out. What's up with the European showers? Hear me out here. Keep it stationary. One place. Don't let them move out. We don't need the rope shower. We don't need it. I'm very good. No, you know what? Whenever I go into a shower, I'm not tied to a chair. I have all the free range to move my body. I don't need the shower to move to me. I can move to the shower because that thing's always falling off, dangling, shooting everywhere. I'm going to make a fortune selling shower heads that just lock in place. It's going to blow your mind. I'm coming.
Okay.
That's my statement.
Run with that.
Stuba.
Yes.
Another thing, Carla and Ramit, we had breakfast with them. Guess what? You're never going to believe this. Carla from Jai Yoga in Brooklyn. Yeah. She's hardcore.
Okay.
She's completely hardcore. Like
we never knew this before.
She's seen the Crow Mag.
We've known her for years.
She's seen Youth of Today.
Get out. Like way back?
I've known her for years. She's super old school.
Okay.
I never knew this. She's from Boston. I know.
Boston
she
hardcore.
Knows Choke. She knows everybody.
Really?
We just had a great conversation.
She never revealed that.
I know. She just told me, yeah, I know all this. I saw you today. And
like in 1980 something?
Yes.
Amazing.
I know. We're very impressed.
Does she know, I mean, we know people from there.
No, she does. She knows
Karuna Purna?
She knows Karuna Purna
out.
From those days. She didn't even know she was a devotee.
Amazing.
Yeah. That's the story. Anyway.
Hey.
That's it. And we are in Italy and we're looking forward to it. And we really sort of just began. Yeah. We just began.
Had a great night last night. Great kirtan.
Great kirtan.
You led a great kirtan last night. And when you got everybody doing the circle thing,
The circle.
I was
circle within a
impressed.
circle. It was a Fibonacci spiral of
that
dancing.
that actually was a Fibonacci spiral because I thought it wasn't going to work. I was going around, and I thought, oh, this is all just going to like, it's going to explode inside and it's going to fall apart. It kept going like
Kept going
infinitely.
Infinitely.
Yeah, we're
It was
dancing
quite
in these
wonderful.
circles and circles within circles.
Well, I think it was especially special. It was especially special because what we had was people who we've only seen on Zoom for 2 years every day. And we finally see them in person,
Corona.
including young Karuna's here. Hi, Karuna. And so it was quite wonderful. It was quite wonderful, and it's like a big family reunion, and I love doing these.
All right.
It's great. So rest of the day today, we're going to have lunch after this, and then we're going to go into Florence and do our thing.
Great. Do we have announcements today?
Any announcements, Mara?
Back to your recovery group meetings. The women meet at 11 today, and the men meet at 2 p.m. Eastern time.
They had a recovery meeting here, and it was like a great crowd.
How was the and they did a live recovery. Was that your first live recovery group meeting ever? Wow.
Wow.
Did their very first live recovery group.
Bhakti recovery group.
Bhakti recovery group. So this is exciting. We're honored to have Jiva G Life Coaching here with us.
Awesome.
One of the founders.
I have an announcement to make about the Sage groups. And actually, you know, Rachel wrote the whole thing up for me, but and I don't have it handy. But the essence is if you signed up for a Sage group and you haven't heard back from us, you're about to hear back from us.
Yeah.
So just be a little patient. They're sorting everything out. It's like complicated.
We're actually testing your patience.
It's a
And
test. If you're not,
failing,
yeah. If
actually,
you write
tremendously.
into us, then
You
you
failed,
then
then you're off the list.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone gets your spot. No.
Just wanted to see where you were at.
Okay, no, but it's all coming. The news is all coming soon, so it's coming together, and I think it's a week from yesterday that they will start. So it's like 6 days from now. The new groups are going to start.
Alrighty.
All right.
All right. Let's dive into the.
What about? I got a couple nuggets. I sent them to you on
okay.
WhatsApp, but do you need your phone for that?
Yeah, I don't have it.
Should I read them?
Why don't you read the nuggets, Prabhu? What are we doing? Yoda week?
Yoda.
I think we should have Yoda. Who's down
Okay,
for
but
Yoda?
not while
week?
we're in Italy.
Yeah, see, everybody wants Yoda. He's the philosopher of our time, I think.
All right.
He's the Socrates baby Yoda week. Did he speak? He's like gerbil, gerbil, gerbil. It is sweet baby Yoda. They call him.
Okay, I've got two. No, we're doing like Italian stuff.
Okay, I'm good for Italian.
So this is Marcus Aurelius.
How many times are we gonna quote?
He's
we
great.
should just start our own Marcus Aurelius podcast.
He's got good stuff.
Quote this guy so much.
You ready?
Yeah.
So this is from Marcus Aurelius. I have two of them. They're kind of related. So the first one is, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but your estimate of it. And this you have the order to revoke at any moment.
Powerful stuff, Marcus.
Read that again.
Read that again.
Okay. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the order to revoke at any moment.
We're giving it power.
Yeah.
We're giving it power. I like it.
Okay. Well, I'll read you the other one because it's kind of like it.
Okay.
You ready? You have control over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength.
This is like universal truths. This is everybody, you're right. Everybody's saying this.
Well, not everybody's saying it, but
No.
there are people all around
No,
saying
I'm just
this.
saying the
Yeah,
wise
every
people
cultures.
of all traditions
Yes.
are saying this very same thing.
Most people aren't realizing it, but there are wise people in all different traditions that are saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just always bringing me back lately. I can't help it all going back to this time with Gopal when he was dying.
Mhm.
It's just like, it's the time where the body becomes overwhelming, the senses become overwhelmed, the mind gets overwhelmed in regrets and fear of the future. And, you're supposed to coach the person to presentness.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like that's what we have to do every day, where maybe it's not generally not as extreme for us, but we're in practice for that, like most critical time. Right now, we are in practice for that final transition. We're always in transition, aren't we? We're always in some type of transition. We got off the plane, we're in transition, we're coming to Italy. Then we're in transition, we're going to go to Florence today. Then we're in transition, we're getting back on the plane. So we're always just traveling around in transition. And how can I cope with some fearful expectation? Oh, I got to go home to this, or some lamentation of the past. Why didn't I do it differently in the past? I wouldn't be in this situation. Whatever it is, we're always in some transition. And part of our daily spiritual rituals are to practice. So I'm not so freaked out by some future event, and I'm not so living in the past of should-haves and would-haves, and can be just very focused and live a life without regrets. So when it comes to the final Olympic event of leaving my body, right? I've been training for it every day, many hours a day. This is what I've been going through this routine, whether it's, the slalom, or what Olympic events do they do?
Decathlon.
Decathlon. Is that a decathlon?
Yes, that is an
The
Olympic event.
luge. I've been training for the luge my whole life.
Or what's the one on the ice where they?
Oh, that's the worst. Don't even get me going on that one. I can't believe that one's still in the Olympics.
What is it called?
Sweeping the disc.
Sweeping the ice.
That's an event. Make skateboarding an event. You're going to sweep the disc.
They already have done that.
Skateboarding is an event.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, forget it. I gotta watch.
You got
more
nothing
TV.
to complain about.
I gotta
All right.
Point is, that's what we're doing every day with our spiritual practice. It's a spiritual practice to cope with today, to cope with tomorrow, and to cope with our final transition out of this frame that I've been identifying with my entire life.
So then that changes everything, because whatever you're going through now, you can, again, he's saying it's just your perception, right? He said, if you're distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but your estimate of it. So you can just change your estimate of all of it by in one switch, by flipping the switch and saying, okay, this is preparing me for my final decathlon moment, right? It may be painful now, but if I'm seeing that I want happiness right now and this isn't providing it, this is interfering with it, well, then you feel the pain. But if you deal with the exact same circumstances and you're thinking, oh, this is preparing me, right? This is great. I can tolerate this. I can keep an even mind through this. And it's just getting me ready for what it's part of the test. It's just like if you're lifting weights, you're not thinking like, oh man, I got to push this thing again. No, you think like, this is preparing me, right? It's like, so all of life can be like that.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, Raga.
Thank you, Prabhu.
All right. You ready?
Curling. It's called curling.
Curling.
They say it's really an athletic event. I didn't think so until I went up to Minnesota for a company event. Okay, so RMR went curling, and it's hard work, he says.
Sorry, I'm not saying. Are they doing that up in Alaska? No, none of that, huh? Okay.
The Alaskans are not interested.
They have nothing to do with that curling.
They have their own things going on there. Polar bears. They really do. They have polar bears there. Okay. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord, Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. They say the echo is back. Is the echo back, guys? Okay, good.
Well, just for the prayers.
Okay.
I think it's because
Okay, we're going to unmute you now. All right, where are we, Kastuba?
Mara can tell us that.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, Text 38.
Text 38. Okay. Oh, these are some interesting verses right now. With me?
Yep.
These are, so now Sanat Kumar is going to wrap up his presentation. Okay? Remember, there was a question asked. Do you remember what the question was?
No.
No. It had some, it was, I don't remember anything about it.
I'm here to represent the people of this room that can't remember what happened this morning.
Okay. What to speak what happened like ages ago, right?
Speak of.
Yeah. So the question was as simple as, I'm trying to find it right now, but it was something like how do we achieve the highest goal in life? You know, it was real kind of general like that. And so here we go. Yeah. I therefore ask you, how in this material world can we very soon? That's important, right? Very soon. Like, in other words, I'm asking for a method of yoga, but I'm asking for one that delivers results like relatively quickly, which is especially important in our day and age when we live short lives, when we have distracted minds, when we're not so, we need something that's going to be very effective. So Sanat Kumar asks, King Prithu asks Sanat Kumar, the little boy sage, I therefore ask you, how in this material world can we very soon achieve the ultimate goal of life? And so Sanat Kumar has been saying, well, the ultimate goal of life is ultimately devotion, right? There's dharma, there's artha, there's kama, right? We can live a pious life. We can
Kama's like, live your dreams.
yeah, well, like pursue the pleasures of life, right? The pursuit of happiness, right? But material happiness is what kama is specifically referring to. So it's saying, there's a whole Vedic system of a gradual process that one can go through in life where you're dharmic, you behave well, you're dutiful in life, and the natural result of that is that you're blessed, you prosper in life, and the result of that is that you enjoy life, you enjoy the things of this world. But and then after having done that, you can let go of them and ultimately find moksha or liberation. Sanat Kumar is saying, actually, better not to worry too much about the early ones. Head straight for moksha, but specifically in a devotional context, right? Like connect, and that's where this all becomes real important now, because he's wrapping up his message now, and he's going to be speaking specifically about bhakti yoga, and in one sense, what's special about it, or why it's easier or quicker, you could say. All right. So what was it, 37
30
or 38?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself as one with the cause and effect within this body, but one who has transcended the illusory energy by deliberate consideration, which clears the misconception of a snake for a rope, can understand that the Paramatma is eternally transcendental to the material creation and situated in pure internal energy. Thus, the Lord is transcendental to all material contamination. Unto him only must one surrender. Unto him only.
Unto him only.
Unto him only must one surrender. By the way, I actually was Googling snakes recently.
Here we go.
I'm just telling a story.
And you saw one snake swallowing another snake.
No. I was just Googling eating an antelope. Snakes in the area. Curious what snakes lived in the area. And I was walking with Mara and I saw a rope. And I went, yeah!
For real?
The color of the rope was speckled like a snake. It was fascinating.
Hold it. Did that really happen, Mara? He really thought it was a snake?
It's not just me telling a story.
That's a Krishna miracle.
Yeah.
That verse out of 18,000 verses in
the rope and the snake verse.
That on the day that happens.
Well, no, it was 2 days ago. It was 2 days ago.
Still, I think that's one step towards sainthood right there for you.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. One more miracle, Krishna. Saint.
But so yeah, the last time we got together before the Q&A, Sanat Kumar identified the Paramatma, right? That it's like focus on God within your heart. Don't worry about anything else. Go right there. And so this verse is following up on that. Let's look at it again. That Krishna manifests, that the Paramatma, it manifests himself as one with the cause and effect within the body. In other words, all of our karma that's taking place within our body, that's taking place, it's ultimately the energy. It's not only the energy of the Paramatma, but it's energy that's directed by the Paramatma. So he manifests himself as one with the cause and effect within this body, but one who has transcended the illusory energy. This is the yogi, right? By deliberate consideration. In other words, I just didn't let my mind go wherever it goes. I got deliberate about it, right? I deliberately considered how I want to engage my thoughts rather than just like plug into a television and let it determine where my mind goes.
You ever just lay in bed and think about stuff? Just like think. And then it goes to crazy stuff. And then it goes to like happy stuff. Then it goes to like treacherous things like, you're just laying in bed. There's got to be some herding of those thoughts, the Bhagavatam says.
Okay, yeah.
You can't just let the sheep go out into the forest. You got to bring them back.
Right. So that's what's meant here by deliberate consideration. Okay, so one who has transcended the illusory energy by deliberate consideration, which clears the misconception of the snake for a rope. Okay, and we'll have to talk about that. But why don't we go ahead and talk about that right now? What's the misconception of the snake for the rope?
It's not actually a snake. It's a rope.
Yeah. So what does it mean? Why is that significant?
Because they
What are
tend to
referring
look like each other, but one.
I'm saying within the context of Vedanta, what does it mean?
Oh, it's illusion for reality.
Yeah, it's in other words, we experience fear in this world, right? We experience confusion. We experience, especially fear, And so, but is there anything really? This goes back to Marcus Aurelius here too. It's what he was saying. It's our perception of something. It's the value that we give something that creates our suffering in this world. So, someone's walking down, whatever you were walking down the other day, and you saw a rope, but for a moment you thought it was a snake.
And I jumped, and I actually made a noise. Like,
you felt the exact same kind of suffering that you would experience if it was actually a snake.
Right.
But there was no snake there at all.
Right.
So it was an illusion.
It didn't even move.
The only reason that you suffered was because of the illusion, because of the mistake. And if the entire time you would have known that it was a rope, then you would have never experienced that suffering. So it's an analogy that's very commonly used in Vedanta to explain that our suffering in this world is due to our ignorance or due to our lack of understanding, right? That fundamentally, what's the big illusion that we have?
I could die.
No, well, yeah, okay. Or I am this body.
I'm this body, and therefore I could die, which is an illusion. Why? Because we don't die. Why? Because it's only due to the material world reinforcing the illusion that I am my stuff, including my body. Right. Like my stuff is my body, and my home is my body, and my kids are my part of me. They're all extensions of me, and it's not. And they're trying to sell us, clothes for the body or glasses for the body, right? And purchase this vehicle that the body will now own. They all become extensions of an identity that is not us. So when the world is endorsing it, and I'm opting into that, that's why the sadhus have nothing to remind themselves of nothing. I have nothing. I don't expect anything because I can't possess anything in the first place, right? When you're in a grihasta or a householder, you have to be really strict because we're messing around with the material world. We're playing with it. We're playing with dollars and cents. We're playing with careers. We're playing around with kids. We're playing around with these things that we think we own. So we have to do it in a very detached way, or else because we say, well, we're householders, we can do these things. We have to just cultivate knowledge. You do, but you really have to cultivate it, though. You can't use it as an excuse. Well, this is just a particular ashram I'm in life. Okay, but to the degree that I don't take it seriously, I'm going to suffer when I lose the things that I think are mine. So the entire time I have to cultivate this deep, deep concept that it's actually not mine. Nothing is mine, not even my own body. And therefore, it extinguishes fear in our life.
Consider Gopal again.
Yeah, getting to the stage. It's really, it gives deep realization. I've been missing him lately, and I'm going through his Instagram account, to see a person who's not here any longer, but here, he's got videos, and he gave this one thing about lessons from a dying man. And the way he said it was so beautiful. He was talked about how we have to forgive and to be compassionate to those who are cruel to you. It was so sanguine and so realized, and just to speak so straightforward. people want to hear what a dying man has to say. Like he was saying, it's almost like, I'm a dying man. Like, no big deal. I understand that. And to speak that boldly, it was so like impressive.
What were you watching? Like
It was just his like video on Instagram.
he was
He
just
posted
speaking.
it of himself.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nice.
But there he was, a person that most people in his condition would feel fear because they're identifying with the body. They're taking a rope. They're thinking it's a snake. If I think I'm this body, then I think I'm dying.
Right. That's
And
why I say,
everything's lost.
and that's why I say, at the very least, even if I don't believe all this stuff, or look at these pictures of Ravana flying in the air and Ram shooting Ravana. I can't believe that. That's too far-fetched. I don't believe in flying kings in the air who's getting killed by another king. That's too crazy. At the very least, people, this develops a framework so we can deal with the greatest tragedies in life, which is losing our own body, losing everything we love. These are important things to try to come to terms with. It devastates people on a regular basis, every day. Just walk into a hospital. Everybody's getting devastated by this thing, unless I'm living with my head buried in the sand. This is an important way to just frame out what the world is and give you some positive way to view it, some positive vantage point at the very least. And it works. And it works. It worked for our good friend.
Right. Well, you're talking about faith now, but I got
No, it's not faith.
Well, no, you're saying, in other words, I may not believe all of this. I may not have faith in all of that.
Yeah, I'm saying even if you don't have faith in this,
That's what I'm saying.
if it all seems fantastic, or it's just your mythology, you don't have to believe in the mythology. Just put this stuff to steady practice. You don't have to believe that Ram is real. You could just understand there's a higher force, a higher power. Maybe he's called Ram.
Yeah.
Maybe he was a king. But check this out. This stuff actually works.
That's what I'm saying. So
that is faith in that.
Yeah.
But there is very tangible stuff we can understand.
Okay.
I can't understand I'm not made up of matter. That's not a big leap of faith. It's a little hop.
Okay. Well, I mentioned something on the show during the Q&A the last time we did, and then I pulled it into the Sage Group notes for this coming week. So if you're in a Sage Group, this will likely get brought up in your Sage Group this week.
I'm curious how many people are in a Sage Group here. We got a huge group of live people. How many people are in a Sage Group?
A good amount.
Well, let's triple that.
Okay.
Triple it. Some people are like, I don't even know what it is.
Triple what?
Triple what?
And then people have, I'm only one person. I have to join 3?
Anyway.
Okay. But this is what I brought up because the topic was faith. And like you're saying, there's a lot of things. Like when someone challenges your faith.
Right.
Yeah. When someone challenges your faith, a lot of times they're going to ask you like, oh, you believe in this? Like they're going to find something that's like really far out. And then they're going to say, what rational person could believe, for instance, that unlimited universes emanate from the pores of some massive 4-armed form, and that's where
it's mythological.
That's mythological. That can't be real. And why would you possibly have faith in that? That's absurd.
Why not? That's what.
Oh, why not?
Why not? But
well, I don't know if why not is enough to satisfy that kind of.
Well, no. My point. Yeah. My point is, here's what you can do though. Write down what you fully believe in.
Well, hold it. That's where I'm going. Now, slow down.
Okay,
Slow down.
Right. Did I just make your punchline?
Well, it's not a punchline. I got to maybe more developed than what you're about to do, but I think the same gist.
More developed?
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe yours thing is more developed.
I've been developing mine for a while.
I wrote mine down. Okay.
I keep mine up here. In this tiny little vault.
Okay, so let's take like everything that's part of our philosophy of life, or of our bhakti philosophy of life. Let's break it into 4 different categories. Okay, what do I know is actually true? Okay, I know it's true. What do I have firm conviction in, based on my own personal experience?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I may not say know it 100%, but my experience has shown me that this is consistent with this philosophy. What makes sense to me, right? What's coming from this that I don't even have personal experience with, but it makes a lot of sense logically. And then what do I accept because it's presented from spiritual sources that I've developed trust in? All right? Like, for instance, if you say that Mahavishnu, that unlimited universes emanate from his body and they last for like one of his breaths, right? I mean, even if I say that that this universe, it only lasts for one breath of Vishnu, like, how do I know that? What to speak of unlimited universes coming from him, right? Do I know that like 100%? I can't say that I do. Does it, is it a conviction based on my personal experience? No, right?
Although you could Fibonacci it.
How's that?
Well, I sweat. In that sweat, there's probably bacteria
Okay,
with their own little universe.
So you're saying that kind of fits into it makes sense to me.
Like, I'm doing it right
Okay.
now. I'm creating universes when I work out.
I don't think you are.
I don't create, There's little universes dripping down my armpits. Sorry for that.
But that's something that I accept because it's coming from sources that I have faith in. And why do I have faith in those sources of information? It's because of the other things.
Right. They've also given me very, very practical things, very, really tangible things. And these same people who are giving that tangible information are also speaking of things that are slightly less tangible and then things that are quite fantastic.
Yeah. Like, what do you know?
What do I know?
Yeah. What do you know that's consistent with the philosophy that, of Bhakti or Vedanta?
Rising early, I find to be very, very healthy for me.
To me, that's even in the next category. What
do I know?
That's firm conviction based on personal experience.
That I can control my mind.
Okay, that's good.
That I can control my mind. I can control my thoughts. I can control what I focus on. I control the things. I do have there is sort of like an autopilot, like I feel was programmed into me, and it doesn't necessarily lead to good choices. So I have to conscientiously control my thoughts, which lead to my actions, which create my future.
Yeah, I think those are great things. And you're saying that through these texts, you've heard that, experimented with it, experienced it on your own. You have personal experience with that.
Sure.
And I would say things that I know that are like even more fundamental, or just like, I know that I suffer in this world. I know that I wish to be eternal. These are just like really fundamental things, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's things that we have experience with, like you just, or like, let's say like this, I know that I'm happier when I control my senses, right?
Yep.
I know that I have a tendency to be dragged here or there by my mind, although my mind is not me because I can observe my mind.
Yeah, the mind is observable,
right?
That's how I know I'm separate than it.
Yeah, I may have never even come to that if it wasn't from reading Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and so on. But it's something that I've heard and I've experimented with, and I've experienced it, right?
You hear a random quote by a thinker, an author, etc., but you come into this context of a whole a Vedic universe where this is not only spoken about but built upon and developed even deeper and deeper.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this, Ravana.
Okay.
What is it? Name some things from Vedanta, from Bhakti philosophy, that you don't have any personal experience with, but it makes sense. Like, it makes so much sense that you have faith in it.
That doesn't come from Bhakti philosophy?
No, that does.
It does.
But that you don't have personal experience in.
That I don't have personal experience.
That at least your personal experience hasn't added up to like some.
Okay, how about life on other planets?
Okay, you're saying that makes sense.
I don't have personal experience. I've never been to the moon, believe it or not. Haven't been there, but if life can exist here and life can exist in oceans that are, parts of the Mariana Trench, there's life down there where the pressure is so intense and the temperature.
Mariana Trench.
Mariana Trench.
Okay, I've not heard of that.
Like that one? You never heard that one? Very, very deep.
Okay.
Yep, they're all nodding.
Yeah, Mariana Trench.
Mariana Trench. So there's life where the pressure is so intense and the temperature is so extreme, yet there's life there. And they find life there. They have these
different forms of life.
very peculiar forms,
Okay.
luminescent forms, right? So if it can exist in these extreme, some volcanoes, incredible heat, they find life.
Right.
So if it can exist in these extreme places, there's every chance it could. The Vedas talk that the jivas exist on all planets.
Okay.
And I could say, I could buy that.
Makes sense.
That's reasonable.
Okay. How about something like this? It makes sense to me that there must be a designer of the universe to account for the level of order that exists within it.
There is order, yes.
Right.
Wherever I find complicated things, there's some director behind it, like a painter. There's some person behind the painting.
Yeah.
It didn't just manifest. There's an intelligence behind that creation.
It makes sense.
Yes.
I think to believe that there's not a designer, it doesn't make sense. Actually, I think like that's a leap of faith.
I think that's a leap of faith.
Yeah,
yes.
that's a crazy
painting
leap of faith.
Without a painter, absurdity.
Yeah, absurdity. I'm with you. I think that was in your song, right?
It was song lyric. Thank you.
Shelter.
Shelter.
Okay, how about this? It makes sense to me that the body is dead without the presence of the soul, a spark of spiritual energy.
Makes total sense.
Right? It makes sense that there's something else there. Otherwise, like I may have mentioned this before, but like when I was a kid, I thought, okay, you can die by like bleeding out, right? You lose enough blood, you die.
Yeah.
Why not just put the blood right back in there?
Yeah.
Start it up again.
Never thought that.
Right? I used to think that when I was a kid. Why don't you just put the blood back in and start it up?
Well, here's one.
Something's missing. You're right. In other words, it's not just the collection of material ingredients that's there.
Right. Because
you put that ingredient right back.
Especially when a person just dies. Like, so like, suppose I just die right now. So there's a live version and a dead version of
Some more blood. Put the blood back in.
No, suppose the blood's still there, though. Even the blood's in there.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm dead.
Okay.
Because sometimes people just die. What happens, like, everything's still there. The eyes are still there. The blood's still there. The ears are still there. But the ears can't hear. The hearer is not there.
The ears are capable for hearing.
Huh?
Like, in other words, you could take, I don't know if ear, but like you can take organs from a dead person and quickly get them into, in other words, the organ is nothing wrong with the organ.
The organ, like the microphone is working. The lens is working.
There you go.
Hmm?
Yeah. Camera.
Hmm? But there's no seer. There's no hearer. There's no taster.
Right.
You could put my tongue, my dead tongue, in a live person's mouth, a tongue transplant.
You don't have to.
I lost my tongue. Where's Rockedoff? Where's that's funny.
All right. Here's another one. It makes sense to me that love is the highest principle in life.
That makes sense to me.
Right.
If you got something higher, I'm open to it.
Yeah.
But it seems like love is the highest. And it seems like we want love with even if you get a lot of love in this world, which a lot of people do. There's a lot of people get a lot of love, but they still feel fulfilled. It seems like there needs to be a love with a capital L.
A higher love. Don't hold on. Don't do it. Don't hold. Can he control it? Can he control it? Yes.
Send me once a week, that one's got to come.
He almost did it. That was we gotta give him a hand for how long he held out there.
I took a lot of pranayama practice.
I had to appreciate that. Okay, so and then there are things that we don't have experience with that, I mean, in one sense, to me, they even start to make sense. But for instance, like what I said about Lord Vishnu and the universes, Krishna, if someone says to you, how can you believe that there's a blue boy that lifts the hill and that's God? How to believe such a thing is absurd. Someone wrote up some mythology. No, there's a lot more that comes behind that. That doesn't come alone. That comes with that's like a very tip of an iceberg. That's on a huge iceberg that there's so much more underneath there that's rational. Not only there's stuff that's rational, there's stuff that I've experienced myself. And because of all of that, I believe what's up at the little tip.
So it's very, very easy. And we saw this with all the colonial cultures that came to India. They take one little thing out of context and condemn the entire culture, to try to put forth their narrative of, you've got this all backwards. You're backwards. This whole thing is backwards. Check out what we're going to sell you.
Yeah. So and commonly, especially like if you're new to Bhakti, people are going to come right there at you. So just when they do, like, how could you believe such a thing? Say, well, no, that's the esoteric side of this. I don't expect you to hear that and relate to it or, understand it. Let's talk about the more fundamental things. These are real practical. These are life changers. These things are improving my life today. These are things I'm experiencing, and you could experiment with too. Bring the conversation onto that level, and you won't come off as like a complete.
Well, that's what happens, and that perhaps I would have got into bhakti sooner, but sometimes people try to speak to you the high stuff first, and it sounds, what are you talking about?
Well, that was Prabhupada's brilliance too, right?
Yeah, you have to. When you're telling people about this type of stuff, give them baby doses, like what's it called, like the chewable. What are the
Flintstone chewable?
Flintstone vitamins, or like the little the little cough syrup for kids. They're delicious. Raspberry. Give them raspberry cough syrup. Don't give them these heavy doses of esoteric philosophy, because they just can't swallow it, and they reject the whole thing. Right. You got to eat, and that becomes an expert teacher. You got to know how much to give and how much to not. You don't give them anything. And yoga teachers hear this, because if you don't give them anything, you just teach them how to work out. Working out's good, but they can get that at any gym. We have to understand the philosophy, practice the philosophy, live the philosophy, experience the joy behind it, and then you have to become expert at the administration of the appropriate dose of information. You don't give them anything, they don't come out of material consciousness. If you give them too much, they think you're a nutcase, right? So you got to be very delicate in the administration. What is it? The administration? No,
the prescription.
Prescription. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, or you administer
administering
medicine. Yeah.
The dose of information that you give.
And I think that goes not only for like sharing with someone else, but even in one's own practice. In other words, if I'm not ready for it, if I'm not a person that's already developed control of my senses, control of my mind, if I haven't already developed that to quite some degree, and my practice is entirely focused on the very esoteric part, then it may seem like, like I'm really getting into the real thing, like Radha Krishna, Leela, and all that. But if I can't even, I'm not really a yogi. Then it's kind of artificial, right? I won't be able to fully understand those things until I'm a yogi. So I can hear those things. I can be nourished by hearing those things. And I can place Radha and Krishna's Leela like on a pedestal, in a sense. Like that's my aspiration, to fully understand and appreciate, and even enter into that Leela. But I'm not going to be able to fully understand or appreciate it while my mind and senses are still like distracted and attracted, and to such an extent that I put myself in the center of the equation rather than Radha and Krishna in the center of the equation. So I need to contemplate jnana. I need to think about this body, the soul. I need to think about controlling my senses and all of that. That's going to give me what I need to be able to fully appreciate those higher things. Otherwise, I'm kind of lost.
Because I feel like we lose people who, they get into it, and then in the name, then very often they feel like, okay, I'm not getting a taste out of. They don't have some contribution. See, once we get into this, we have to feel like also what our contribution is to it.
Surrender. It takes surrender, right?
It takes some type of contribution of my time, of my energy, my resources, my whatever it is. We have to feel like we're part of something bigger and we're giving. That's where we get our fuel from. I know the people who are doing the sage groups, they're feeling they're getting something out of it. And the sage group leaders are feel like this is so nourishing for me. And we love doing the podcast. And Mara got swept up into this podcast. She didn't even know what she was getting into. But she feels like this is my contribution. I get to contribute with you guys. And we all need to feel like we are feeding into something very, very high to feel like nourished in this world. And what'll happen, you'll go through all the motions of, okay, I've got became an initiated devotee, a second initiated devotee. I got some deities in my house. I'm doing all these. Then you get bored and you'll think, well, maybe my guru's wrong. Maybe I need a better guru, or maybe I need a better sangha. Maybe I need to find more esoteric philosophy. And you get lost in these higher philosophies, but you can't even do the very basics of controlling your senses. There's no going to higher things. You can't enter into that door unless you can control the senses and the mind. And it comes from first being a contributor. That's how this is the prayer we say, right?
Which one was that? I don't know. The contributor prayer?
Don't we say contributor prayer somewhere? By regular attendance in classes of the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to your devotees. right? All that is troublesome
That's
to
a
the
great.
heart.
That's a great interpretation of the verse, because by saying regularly, there's a lot to Bhagavatam. But when you say by regularly hearing Bhagavatam, you might think, oh, yeah, 10th canto, Rasalila, right? Regularly hearing that.
Mm.
But with that, but also offering service, right? Both together.
Yeah.
Nice one, Raghunath.
Ooh,
I like
yeah.
that. I like that. All right. I think we're kind of out of time.
How did that go so fast? We didn't do anything.
It just well, it went. It went by.
We did one verse in 1 hour.
We didn't even.
We're never
hardly
going to
do-
get through this book.
Even this chapter, it's like this chapter is like dense full of stuff because we've been on it for a long time. We're only like halfway through it.
Enjoy the journey, Raghunath.
That's right. The journey.
It's not about where we're going with this. We're going to finish the Bhagavatam. We're like, now what do we do with our lives?
Do it again. Do it again.
No, it's
All right.
okay. This is how we're supposed to do. We're supposed to rip this stuff apart and ingest it again and tease it all out.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm with you.
Okay.
Amara.
Mara, do we have any takeaways? And did we take a vote on this? Or are we going to call takeaway
No,
goodies?
we voted. It was
Ba-
really
ba-
rejected.
basket of
It was
goodies.
like, yeah.
Okay, what's in the basket of goodies today?
You can't just ignore everyone. You can't take a vote and then just ignore everyone's. Or can you? All right.
Our pain is due to our minds giving power to externals.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Flip the switch in our mind.
Which one now?
We're in practice, training daily for the final transition.
Okay, good one.
Heard the thoughts by deliberate consideration.
Heard the thoughts by deliberate consideration. Nice.
We heard the thoughts.
We're deliberate consideration. We want to thank deliberate consideration.
We want to thank Deliberate Consideration for opening the show for us.
Oh, by the way, you came up with some really good stuff. Zip it. Like you're coming up with this stuff this morning, Raghunath, that I thought was very takeaway T-shirt worthy.
Zip it. Oh, this morning.
Yeah, zip it.
Zip it up.
Yeah, like in other words, don't let anything get
Oh yeah, what did I call it?
leaks. Yeah.
Keep it tight. No
it
leaks.
tight.
I can't remember what I was talking about.
I was talking about frames, but then you took it to zip it, you know. Anyway. Oh, by the way, I posted that talk on Patreon.
What?
So
we recorded that?
I did. No, we didn't. I did.
Patreon members. Is it posted right now?
It's posted on Patreon.
Yeah,
Anyone
if you're
can go
a
there.
Patreon member, there you can listen to that this morning.
We'll try to share a lot
It
from.
was a good song. It was a fun thing
Yeah.
this morning.
Last night was great too.
Last night was good.
But yeah, I'll be trying to share stuff regularly. But if you want to catch this morning's thing with the zip it, you can go find that. Patreon members can find that. It's already posted. Okay, please continue, Mayor.
To join Patreon, you go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages. Thanks to everybody who contributes. Makes a big
Thank you.
difference.
Okay. Yes.
Back to our goodies.
Take a little faith hop to understand we aren't the body.
Take a little faith hop.
Take a little faith hop.
A painting without a painter, absurdity.
Absurdity.
We need love with a capital L.
Yes.
Careful.
That's a song, isn't it?
No. But it's not.
Bring the conversation from the esoteric to the fundamental.
Okay. I mean, there's time for esoteric too, but yes, it's important.
Carefully administer baby doses of truth.
Oh, little spoonfuls. Loving spoonfuls.
Mary Poppins.
I was going to say Sound of Music, so I would have blown it.
We need a contribution for our own nourishment.
Yes. And
Control-
finally, oh no, more still.
Control the mind and senses to understand higher principles.
Okay. Higher esoteric thought.
Curling is hard work.
Is that it? Is that the lesson? The curling is hard work.
That's it. Woo! Thanks, everyone, for joining us live in Italy. We're going to be doing this tomorrow, right? We're definitely doing this tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're here tomorrow, same time. How are we going to do this when we go on that Youth of Today tour? It's going to be tricky.
That's like, it's probably a good time, like noonish, right?
I don't know. We're going to figure it out. But thanks for joining us here live in Italy. Thanks to Live for joining us. Say Harry Bo. They're all like, whatever. It's hot. Look at that giant Garuda.